Hi there, welcome. My name's Andrew Davey, and this is Purpose-Led Wealth Creation. It's been a little while in the making, many years for that matter, and it's so exciting just to be here in this moment now where I've got the opportunity to connect with you, and for which I'm truly, truly grateful for as well. You're taking time out, and I really do appreciate that. You may be a parent right now who's searching for, maybe some answers or some ideas or some understanding or appreciation as to how to work with your child in better communicating with and helping them see the path in the best light. Or you might be, a young adult yourself who, gets that sense right now of the overwhelming pressures that you feel of now having to make decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life. Once upon a time before this haircut, I used to be one of those young people too. And, I can only remember, being in year 10 in Australia where I was born in Perth, Western Australia, and then having to make decisions of subject selection because this is what I'm going to do in the career path and this is the path I have to head. And obviously I've changed and moved and done a lot of things since then. So, I'm here truly to work alongside young adults in really helping them understand themselves so they can make those decisions that not only help them, but make such a difference and impact on the community and the world around us. So thank you so much for spending the next 30 minutes with me. I absolutely guarantee what I'm about to share is something that I know can help you evolve or help you with your children in helping them be the best they can be as well. So thanks so much for being here. I've shared a few quotes just to start with. When you look at, I guess, what we do as adults and how we live as adults, as a coach, I've worked alongside so many adults in so many different areas of life. And one of the things that's incredible is that, and myself included here, is that it's almost that we have so much undoing to do before we have to pave the way for what we know we need to create or the direction in which we need to head. So when I talk about that, I'm talking about obviously, living a purpose-filled life, creating that legacy, leaving an impact. And what I love, is that when I look at the youth of today, and I've had the most privileged opportunity 7 years ago it was, almost 7 years, so coming up 8 actually, July of this year, 2017 is when, we launch into the next Magic Moments event. And I had the opportunity to step on stage for the very first time. 7 years ago, I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm sharing amongst these young adults. These are kids aged from 13 all the way to young adults 18 and above. And it gives them the opportunity to be in an environment where they're not only supported by appreciating what's so great about themselves and what gifts they have, but giving them that sense of faith, that hope, and that belief that anything's possible if they set their mind to it. And anything's possible when they surround themselves with those who are there to truly make a difference and support them in their journey as well. So I remember finishing 7 years ago. I've just about finished off stage. I'm just about to walk off. And I had this young guy come up to me. He was about 13 years old at the time. He was a tiny little fellow. He stood literally just up to my chest height. He came over to me and he had tears in his eyes. He was welling up. And he said to me, he goes, I just wanted to thank you for what you shared because you really made me believe that it's possible and it's okay for me to dream. And he gave me this massive hug and he had tears in his eyes. And what I didn't realize was in that moment, in that very second, in hindsight, looking back now, that this young guy gave me the biggest gift in the world. He helped me realize that this is why I was put on this planet. This is the exact reason why I'm here before you today. Because I know when nurtured, when understood, when supported, when given the greatest information and gifts that youth can be given, they can take that, they can apply it without limitations. Their biggest gift is their age. And for you, if you're a young adult listening right now, I really want you to get that. Your biggest gift that you have right now is your youth. So what I started to understand is that when you share things with youth, they tend to take it and they run with it, they apply it, and they start to make a difference, not only in their own life, but like I shared before, they start to really have that sense of making an impact and doing something great with their lives that's great for the community, great for the environment, and great for the world around them as well. So I hope my excitement comes through and I share, because what I'm about to share with you today has been, as I said, years in the making, in my own personal development, in my understanding, in coaching individuals and stepping on that stage and speaking in environments for youth for the past 7 years. So what would it mean to you? And my question is for young adults and for parents that are listening for this today, what would it mean for you or for your child to have clear and specific direction so they can now decide the direction they need to head? You know, the overwhelming sense of pressures on youth today is the reason why suicide rates are through the roof. It breaks my heart to know, you know, that those unbelievable pressures of, you know, having to conform and fit in and do what we're supposed to do, which leads to bullying, you know, online and offline. It's such a limitation and can be such a pressure that leads to that, I guess, difficulty in knowing what direction, you know, our kids, our youth all have to head in. So imagine if something existed where you now had that opportunity to get clarity, to get an understanding, to get an appreciation that this is what I want, this is where I need to go, and this is what I need to do in order to make it happen right now. And when we look beyond that, you know, if you look at, you know, going from looking in the telescope to then looking at, you know, the microscope, where we're at right now to where we want to be, imagine when you can design a life. You know, when you look at wealth, and I talk about wealth, not just necessarily from the monetary sense, but knowing the impact that when we create wealth in our life, we live a wealthy life. The impact we can create for others just by simply having the ability to give more than ourselves, to give beyond ourselves. You know, having a passion and purpose to get out of bed every single day, knowing that this is why you're put on this planet and this is exactly what you need to do. And the sense of reward that comes from doing that. Parents on the call, you know exactly what I'm talking about when, you know, you've shared, you've understood what you need to do with your children and you see them grow. You watch them be inspired by your actions and know that the things that you've shared is the direction you're heading and the direction they're heading as well. So imagine discovering your wealth path, uncover your life's purpose, this overwhelming sense that we've got to go out and now find our purpose. What I want to do is take the pressure off and know that you'll discover it through your actions. One of the things I learned through my whole life is that in action, we find clarity. When we take the steps that we need to take, all of a sudden things become very clear. And if you look back through your life, there would have been turning points or little clues or lessons that help you understood that this is why you're here. So why, I guess, do I use this word entrepreneurship? Why do you need to become entrepreneurial in your journey? You know, to succeed in future, I look at the word entrepreneurs. I've written a couple of ideas for you just there, but the word entrepreneurship, it's something that doesn't necessarily mean having to be in business for yourself. Business to me is one of the most wonderful gifts we have as a creator and someone who wants to make an impact, to give us the ultimate freedom to express ourselves in that way. But the amount of people that can be entrepreneurs in a career, you know, doctors that are making groundbreaking studies in saving people's lives. When you look at people that are just creating businesses that make an impact on a social level or the environment or whatever's so important to you, the entrepreneurial way is where you can now have that sense of freedom. You can have that freedom to express yourself no matter what age. And by no matter what age, we hear now and now more and more stories of those young people, 14, 15, 16-year-old, you know, that have created web-type businesses or online ventures or apps that have gone on to just become absolute phenomenons. You know, we look at, you know, creators of business, the name eludes me at the moment, but an app that was created that was actually just about collecting news feeds and all of a sudden was bought out by Yahoo for $50 million. Now, this wasn't a 60-year-old man. This was a 15-year-old kid. So one thing that I appreciate is that you as youth have so much to give and you have so much knowledge and so much wisdom, but maybe have yet to be given the opportunity to fully express it. And the biggest thing about an entrepreneur that I really want you to get is this: that entrepreneurial way of thinking is not the selfless acts of creating a business just to make money or doing a job just to exist and survive. I want to help take you from that survival instinct to that place where you thrive, that place where you naturally show up as the individual of who you specifically know you are, and the difference that you can make in your communities and the impact you can make on the world and the legacy that you leave behind. And I love that quote. When you look at entrepreneurs, it's living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. And I don't talk about other people because they're not on this call. I'm talking about the very select few that made a decision to say, you know what, I just want to check this out because I feel there's something in it. And that feeling, that sense of knowing, is what I really want to capture. And I really want you to hold on to. And I really want you to show and share with the world. So I wanted to share a little story. And this is something very close to my heart. This is two young individuals that I have worked intensely with over the past 6 months. This program, as I shared, and what I'm about to share with you, and the opportunity for you to come on board today, it's something that has been within me for so many years. It's just that now I've refined it to a point where I wanted to share it with the world. And this is the greatest example. Right here before you is two young men, Dalton and Kieran. These two are two individuals that at 15 and 17 years of age, really started to feel those sense of overwhelming pressure of, knowing what society expects of them. Almost that losing of yourself in conforming in a way. And, when we look at the education system, it's so important today that kids get a great education. What I believe, though, is there's things that lack in the education system. Real life education. When you look at these two as an example, when we started to help them self-discover, and by that I mean start to communicate themselves in a better way, start to look within to understand their values, their beliefs, what limits them, what excites them, what's their dream, what's their goal, what's their vision, where do they want to head, and for what purpose do they want to head there? And they started to understand those things. They started to realize that it was possible. And they, off their own backs, launched this business, this concept. They're still full-time studying. Dalton about to step into university. He's made some selections. He's come through one of the toughest years of any young adult's life, and that's that final year of school. And you look at young Kieran, who's 2 years to go in his schooling in Singapore, and just starting to really discover themselves. And they express themselves through this business, but not to create money. That's what I really want you to get. This was an opportunity for them to give back to a cause so great for them. So Project Eyring is where they not only discovered a valuable product that was going to help people, they also found a way that they can produce income to then give back to a cause so great to them. And that was to give back to that Magic Moments Youth Leadership and Business Summit. And they're sponsoring kids to go back to that event. These are real life examples of people that discovered themselves and then started to make that impact. And for me, it's irrelevant whether the business succeeds or not. It's relevant to them, but more importantly, what I'm loving and what I've been privileged to be part of, as I've seen them grow and guided them along that journey as well. It's been wonderful to see the intense growth within themselves when they make decisions in their business and things start to work, and seeing that excitement and seeing them light up. I know very well now the foundations are being placed for them to grow into men, for them to grow into individuals that will not only support families, it'll support people in their world, their friends and those so close to them, but I also know the legacy that they choose to now leave behind. So one thing I understood, when I talk about entrepreneurship, my journey in what I understood, working jobs for many years and things that I wasn't so much passionate about that I enjoyed. And through my self-development discovery at 19 years of age, attending Tony Robbins events and everything, you name it, whatever I could get my hands on, I just wanted to learn. And I'll share some insights into that tonight. But through that discovery and through sharing this with Dalton and Kieran, as I shared before, one of the things I uncovered by reverse engineering my journey was that there is 5 stages in which an individual grows through and goes through as an entrepreneur. So in this purpose-led wealth creation journey, these 5 levels, which I'll make very clear, a lot of people who are at that level 1 and probably 2, they're probably not listening to this right now. They wouldn't have made it this far. You look at that entry-level individual, and I say entry-level because I believe they're doing life. I don't mean any disrespect as long as they're content, but I'm someone that wants the best for every human being. I want the best for myself, and I strive for the best within myself, but I want to help others understand that too. And I want to help others, especially in that youth space, so that they have those foundations to go and take those steps through these stages of their life as well. So a hopeless entrepreneur, they don't believe it's possible. Anything that you share with them, they'll rubbish the idea. We've probably got friends or individuals we know at our school or people that you know on Facebook that are probably in this space. So when you look at the hopeful entrepreneur, that's that person that might have heard so many stories and now believes it might be possible, but it's probably not possible for them. It's all right for those people out there, they're born rich or they're born into it or their parents must have given them the money or whatever it is. They've made that decision that right now it's not possible. Most importantly now, I look at people probably where you're at right now, those awakened entrepreneurs. You read books, you research, you think it's possible. It's probably what drew you to this website, to this video right now to be listening to. You don't yet understand maybe the fundamentals of money and wealth, but you know and get a sense that, hang on a minute, if there's those people out there driving those fancy cars, or if there's those people out there that started that business, or there's those people out there that are doing what I'd love to do, flying a plane or a doctor or whatever it is, then it must be possible. Because they're human just like I am. And it's the one thing where we're all leveled as human beings. I love that about us as humans. We are vulnerable in the one sense. And that sense is that we all need oxygen. We all need blood in our veins. And we are still limited in some aspects, but we're so limitless in what we're capable of. Now, the next level is why I guess I'm here today. What I strive for is to guide people through to this understanding of being an applied entrepreneur. Someone who takes action, they've acquired knowledge, they've got goals, they've got a strategy, they're clear on the path. They've got someone to guide them, they've got a mentor, someone to look up to, someone that has their back, someone that supports them, someone that helps them understand that those decisions they're making are okay, even when it's scary. They know their purpose and their mission, and they've got a life plan. They know exactly where they're heading. Now, will you falter and waver off this plan? Absolutely. My path has changed so many times, but ultimately I've always been heading in the right direction that's led me to now. And of course, then is that sophisticated entrepreneur, that next level, that person that, the person you look at that's created enough income to be able to make life decisions that impacts the lives of those around them, those they love, those they care about, and they get to contribute in such a massive way. Now, when I say contribute, once again, I highlight, it's not always financial, but isn't it great to know, and wouldn't it be wonderful to know that you can not only find and follow your dreams, but to be able to fund it as well? That's my wish for you. So, here's what I want you to know. Here's what I discovered. As I said, when I started to look back on my journey and started to reverse engineer what this journey of mine had looked like, it was overwhelming to think, my God, I found 44 steps, 44 unique steps that I now know that I followed in order to get to where I am. And those 44 steps are things that you can't shortcut. And I can tell you this because I tried to. And I can tell you so many times where I made mistakes and went off the path. And the one thing it cost me is the most valuable resource. What do you think that is? No, it's not money. It's time. If I didn't follow these steps every single time, what would happen is I'd waver off and I'd go and do what I thought was right instead of what I knew I needed to do. So if you miss one of these steps in this whole process, the whole thing falls apart. And I know I've got so little time now. I've only got this next 30 minutes, as I said, just to share with you. So I'm going to give you as much as I can this evening, knowing what you're going to get out of the program and the 12 months that we spend together. So I'm about to reveal to you the very first few critical steps that you must take. Now, knowing you've come this far, I know with absolute fact you're someone who's truly ready. I know you're someone who's going to take on board the things I'm about to share and go and apply it. That's all I ask. Take it, go and see how great it works. So the very first thing that I need you to do, it's a must, is I need you to read this book. Who's heard of this book? Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is a book you need to have read yesterday or the day before. That's how important it is. And I want to share a little story, if I can, as to why I know it's so important that you read this. When I was 18 years of age, I was a motorcycle mechanic. I was actually an apprentice mechanic at the time too. And at the time in Australia, I was earning about $360 a week, including minus taxes and everything as well. I was earning about $360 a week thereabouts. So for me, growing up in a middle-class family in Australia, one of the things that I understood is that money was important to survive. But what I didn't appreciate is money can be a vehicle to thrive. It can, by a vehicle, I mean it can be one of those gifts that when you create in abundance, we have so much freedom in our world to make decisions. Like for me to move to another country, to be, with the woman I love and our family and son, for me to do that and to be here now living in Singapore, one of the decisions that helped me and allowed me to do that is the freedom of being in a financial place to be able to make those decisions. Now, when I was that age at 18, I had no clue. I had no understanding or no idea of the concepts of what money really was and what wealth was and what it meant to live a life where you left an impact and you left a legacy behind. So this book, I was recommended, and I'll tell you how that happened because it's a pretty unique story. And it's a turning point in my life. So as I share this, I want you to think about turning points in your life right now as well. Maybe right now, this is a turning point for you. Maybe right now, you listening to this is just like me at 18 when I was sitting in a spa. It was a 8-seater spa, and it was in a suburb called Mandurah in Perth, Western Australia. It's like a holiday area, a beautiful spot, and it was a resort we're staying in. I was with some friends, and we're all sitting in this spa, and there's a guy sitting across from us. Now, I saw this guy the day before. He had this huge 4-wheel drive and this massive boat on the back as well. And I didn't know much about anything in the world, but one thing I knew is that this guy probably knew some stuff that I didn't. It was so impressive, like seeing someone who had these really cool toys back then. And one of the things that happened is he started to communicate with us. He started to have a conversation. And I remember him sharing one thing. He was asking questions about what do you believe that you'll be making 5 years from now? And by that he meant, what's your sort of income? And as I shared, I was only making about $360 a week by memory. So for me, I think I threw the number out, $100,000 a year. And that was a huge number back then. It was massive for me to even consider or contemplate that that was possible. And he was starting to quiz us all. And, I got to remember back, at that time, I was sort of starting to get a bit frustrated and angry. I'm thinking, how dare he question? These are things that you don't question. It's like a taboo subject in today's society. I'm like, who the hell does this guy think he is? But then I started to just remind myself that, hang on a minute, this guy probably knows some stuff. So I listened intently. And his passing words were this: go read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And in that instant, my life was changed forever. I wasn't someone who read books. I was a type of kid at school that read the choose your own adventure books. Like, the books for some of the parents online, you'll probably remember what these books were. They were books that you could fast track your way through it. You could read and then you got to choose, do I go to page 181 or do I go to page 86? And I used to find the fastest path through the book so I could get through it as quick as possible. I didn't like reading. So for me to go out and buy this book was a huge step. And I read it in its entirety, and no word of a lie, within 3 months, I purchased my first investment property with no idea what I was doing, with no clue. I read it and it just made sense. It just made sense. So I urge you, just like I did, is to take that advice, grab this book, and truly appreciate the words that are within it. So that's a must. That's the first thing that you must do. The one thing now I want you to get, now if you have pen and paper, I sincerely hope you write this down, because this is, in my opinion, the biggest key that you can understand to succeeding in life. Now, the key to success, in my opinion, is to add value. When I say add value, what do you think I mean by that? What I mean is adding value to the lives of others. That's what an entrepreneur does. It's your need, want, and desire to add value to the lives of others is how you will ultimately succeed in life. So I want to give you this example. And in no way do I mean any disrespect, but I really want you to get this. Now, I've got two images on the bottom. I've got a picture of a doctor, and on the other side, I've got someone who's picking up the rubbish, so a rubbish collection, or garbologist, I believe they're called. So when you look at the impact that those that are leaving on both sides, I just want you to ponder for a moment before you think about what they're doing right now. I want you to think of the journey that these two individuals had to go on to get to where they're at. Now, when it comes to a doctor, is it fair to say it's quite challenging? And by that I mean the level at which you have to play the game in school, the level at which you have to play the game in life, in study, and you move into university, there's another 6 to 8 years of your life to get to that position. As opposed to maybe someone who's physically fit and maybe doesn't need so many qualifications, but manages to get a position. Now, obviously, when you look at both positions, what I really want you to get is this. How much value does each add to society? They both do in their own right. I mean, you think about it, it'd be total anarchy if the streets were filled with rubbish. But what I want you to get is this. Who's creating the biggest impact? Who's adding the most value to others? And when you're there right now looking at decisions you're about to make in the direction you're going to head, when it comes to career and it comes to ultimately the life you choose to live, what's most important to you? If it's making an impact on lives and a doctor is the way you want to head, then I urge you to follow through. You might be the next person that finds that cure for cancer just because you chose to make that decision, not just to survive, but to thrive. I really want you to get that. Your business needs to add value. Your children need to add value. You need to add value. Parents, do you think every day these kids of yours aren't sponges and looking at the value you share with them? This is what I really want you to get. And finally, I want you to follow these laws. You want to succeed in life? These are a must. This is how I managed to fast track my journey. When I took those steps, I still didn't have all the answers and I still didn't have the knowledge, but my God, was I moving in a direction. And the more I discovered, the more I looked out for those that were creating those opportunities, those that were giving back, those that were making an impact. And I just wanted to learn from them. So I use the example of a doctor. If that's what you really want to do, you truly want to head in that direction, you need to find people that are already getting the results you want in life and know them, start to learn from them. You might look at it and maybe it's someone you can read in a book. Pick up a book about Richard Branson. You want to be successful in business? Do you think we can learn some stuff from that guy? How many times has he become a billionaire from businesses he's created? Not only that, look at the impact that he leaves on the world. Look at the jobs he's created. Look at the things that he does for charities. Look at the things he can do for his family and those around him. Now, the next thing I want you to do is that. Understand what they're doing. Ask specific questions. Elicit their strategies. Sell them on the need to support and guide and mentor you. For youth, any young adults on this call, my honest opinion, excuse me, go and ask questions. Go and find people that are, in business that's successful. As a young adult, if you knock on the door of a CEO, they'll let you in. They want to share and give back to them. Ask how you can support them in their journey. And the third thing is take action. What kind of action? Massive action. Actually go and take the steps. Don't just read halfway through the book and put it on the shelf. I'm talking like if you really want to do it and you found that person, get in touch with them. Find a way. Send them an email. Find a way to communicate with them and add value to their lives. Here's the problem though. And I know this because as a normal human being, do you think I used to suffer from this as well? When I learned stuff from mentors, one of the things was, I could learn everything there was, but then there was always those limitations, from my upbringing and especially my beliefs and limitations around, wealth and money and business and all those sorts of things. Started to get fears. Certain things started to creep in, just like, with Dalton and Kieran working on their business. What do you think started to show up? What if it's not possible? What do you think happened when they went and shared that business with the world that they're now succeeding in? All of a sudden, the dream crushers show up. Those people in your world, tend to be at school or whatever it is, the people that love to tell you why it won't work. Those hopeless entrepreneurs that I shared with you before. The one thing I want you to get is your environment is so important. Those people you surround yourself with, and that quote at the bottom, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think of it. If you're not getting fantastic grades at school right now, who do you surround yourself with? Those level A students? What's naturally going to happen when you're in an environment where all of a sudden you're around achievers? Naturally, you'll be brought to a higher standard. And that won't be by them, that will be by you. That will be by you in your need, your want, and your desire for better for you. One of the things I look at in Australia, for anyone listening in Australia, you'll know very well what happens when I share this story. We love an underdog story. We love the story of someone who, maybe has come from the depths of despair and they've risen up and they've managed to succeed at something. But the one thing we do very well also is we love to slap them down. Don't get too big for your boots. The tall poppy syndrome. And the minute you show success to the world, all of a sudden, they'll do your best to bring you down. But what happens when you're in a community or an environment where there's others that not only share in your successes, but support you in your challenges? Because I guarantee you, failure is going to show up. It's most important. For me, it's so important. The dark side is just as important as the light side. My biggest growth has been from the biggest challenges I've faced. And the most exciting part is when I've overcome them and discovered something about myself that's taken my life to a whole new level. So what am I really saying? You need a mentor. You need people in your life that support you. For parents on this call, you are the biggest supporters of your kids. And thank you for taking the time out to either bring them to this call or for you just to listen to this in its entirety as well. I honor you for that. When I look at mentoring, mentors are people that, they can help fast track your journey. They can sometimes not always have the answers, but they can sometimes help you see things that you can't see yourself. When it's someone you trust to hold you accountable, then you'll allow them permission to put you into a place where you're reminded of when maybe you're not doing what you said you were going to do. It's not about being told, but when you urge of yourself and you demand of yourself that this is what you want and this is why you want it, and you choose not to follow through, how cool is it to know someone's there to have their hand on your back, to tap you on the shoulder and say, do you remember what you said over here? How's that going? And surround yourself with those people that support you in your journey. Find yourself now around people that are heading in the direction you want to go. You want to get grades that are higher at school? Hang around those people. Hang around others that not only want success, but they want to be surrounded by success as well. So who's ready to stand up? Who's ready to stand up right now for what they believe in? Who's truly ready to make an impact on the world? Most importantly, who's ready to find, follow, and fund your dream? Who's ready? So what you're about to learn over the next 12 months, in what I'm about to share with this journey we're about to go on, I want to reveal to you every one of the 44 unique steps I spoke about before. And when I talk about those steps, it's to live a purpose-led, wealthy life. I want you to be rich in abundance financially, spiritually, physically. I want you to create an impact. I want that for you. And I know that when you uncover and discover these steps, you discover yourself and the true you starts to show up. I'm going to help you discover your purpose and find newfound beliefs of success. Understand the rules at which you use to play the game. And now, how do you make it better? How do you make it better? How do you make it more simple? I want to help you build lifelong friends in a community that supports you in your mission and your vision. So what happens is we have these monthly calls that are recorded. You get to listen to them again and again. And the other thing most important to me is that accountability. I want to personally coach you. I want to work with you one-on-one, whether that be by email or for some people, you get the opportunity to work with me individually one-on-one in a live call, just you and I. Just you and I. If parents would love to get involved, I would be honored if you're a part of that journey as well. We all go on those calls together. That's the ultimate way I see that I can ensure that you go and live the life that you decide for yourself. I want to help you communicate better. So important as you go chase your dreams is that ability to communicate and improve the relationships in your life. Not only that, create incredible relationships in those around you. Not just have people in your world, but truly love the people in your world and share your world with others. And there's so much more for you to discover. I want to help you create and take you on that journey from an awakened entrepreneur to an applied entrepreneur, and watching you come back to me over time and say, you know what, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at in my journey. I have clients now from coaching. I just literally yesterday caught up with someone who was one of my very first coaching clients. It was about 6 years ago. He was traveling through Singapore and we caught up, and man, it was awesome to know that the impact that you leave and the relationships you create along the journey are the things that leave a lasting impact. So I want to help you progress through over the next 12 months. In 12 months, this is where I want you to be. I want you to graduate to become an applied entrepreneur. You remember, you have the knowledge, you've got goals, you've got a strategy, you're clear on the path. I'm there to personally support you and mentor you. And with parents, work alongside you to help your young adult become the most incredible individual you know they can be, the best representation of you and the most incredible representation of themselves. You'll know your purpose and your mission. You'll know why you're put on this planet, and you'll have a life plan to go and create it. So what's included? What's included in this program, the Purpose-Led Wealth Creation Program, the journey you'll come on for the next 12 months is monthly recorded sessions. Now, these get sent to you. Now, the reason it's monthly is, what do you think you're going to have to do in between that? Yeah, there's going to be some stuff to do. Yeah, you're going to have to do some self-discovery. I don't call it homework, but I call it a mission. You're going to have missions every single week of things that you're going to commit to, that you're going to sell to yourself. This is where I need to go, and this is what I need to do. There'll be a private group. Now, a private group, it's a secret group. It's others just like you going on this journey as well. And these people, these individuals are there to not only support you and guide you, but they're also going to come up with solutions to things that maybe you can't see, and vice versa. You're going to be able to support them as well. So inevitably, You're going to become that individual that inspires others. As I said, personal one-on-one coaching sessions with me and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week support. And so much more you're yet to discover. So one of the things I want to really highlight is this. This is so important for you as well. At the moment, right now, when you look at the direction you're about to head, yes, there's a cost. Yes, there is going to be an investment in yourself. But I want this program to be available for everyone. But I have some prerequisites. I have some musts and I have some conditions, because I don't just want people to show up on this call and sit and listen. I want you to purely and simply just know that right now there's people that choose not to take the steps. There's people right now that choose not to even be on this call. So I want people who are committed to taking action, and I want them to follow through even when fear shows up. Even when fear shows up, I want them just to take those steps regardless and support others in their journey. Share your experiences and be open to growing, open to becoming more than. And you must be ready to make an impact on the world. You must be ready to take those steps. So here's what you need to do. Scroll down on this website. Scroll down and choose the program that's right for you. The basic program, where you get those recordings and the email support. The premium program where, guess what? You and I, we're going to work together one-on-one. Live video calls, recorded again for you to listen to. Or the platinum program where not only do you get all of that, but also you get the opportunity to increase the amount of calls you and I do to truly hold you accountable. And then the next step beyond that is, guess what? You get the opportunity to go and coach as well. You get the opportunity to go and take that step. Now, when it comes to that secret group I spoke about, this is the place. This is the place where you can now come, take the steps, apply them, and now share your journey. Share with others that are going to support you. We know very well, in today's society, like I said before, the tall poppy syndrome's alive and well. The bullies of the world, the people that will want to bring you down. When you are the average of those around you, especially when you're in an environment like this, ultimately, this is how I know you can succeed. You become a purpose-led wealth creator. So let's get started today. Let's get started right now, this very second. I love that quote. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. There's no perfect time, but the perfect time is right now or yesterday or the day before to start whatever it is you needed to start. We find ourselves now, wherever we're at in life, whatever brought you to now, knowing that right now this is an opportunity for you to go and be who you need to be and do what you need to do to create the impact that you need to create. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for showing up and for sharing this opportunity, this moment. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share as well. And I truly know right now that when we go on this journey together, something so amazing is about to happen. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please go to the frequently asked questions page. You'll see all the details there of things and questions and answers and everything that you need. Please get in touch with me directly. You'll find a way to do that on the website as well. Look around, share in some of the testimonials of people that are coming on this journey already. People that are inspired by their own journey to go and take that, opportunity or take life or just grab onto things and know that this is why they're put on their planet and this is why they're here. So thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank you again, and I look forward to coming on this journey with you very soon. Have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the purpose-led wealth creation journey. Bye-bye.